Ho, ho, ho. Yes, it's that time of year again already. And as you've all been such good boys and girls, Saturday's got an extra one lined up just for you. There is indeed an old railway around here somewhere. Although, while a little bit of it was right behind me down here, the part of it that we'll actually be exploring is this whacking big hill going up on the other side. Unfortunately, as the track bed's not good for walking at this spot, we're going to have to take a different path for the first little bit. This horrific hill next to me is Padley Incline, a railway built in 1902 to serve Bolehill Quarry, which is at the top. Oh, we've even got some steps here. And here, coming up now, or coming down now, whichever your perspective, is the walkable, or rather climbable, part of the incline. Well, looking down behind me if you can see how steep it is already. A 1 in 3 incline, 300 feet long. I've done about 100 feet of it already, on a path at the side. So the cheating's over now. Given how slippery the leaves are, it helps you can find any rock you can to step on. Though not necessarily one that big. 3/4 of the way up already. That's what happens when there aren't any mileposts. Trains actually used to come up and down this thing. You'll find out how in a minute. Once we conquer the remaining 70 feet of this treacherous climb, that next rock is not at the very top. There's about another 5 meters behind it. It's amazing you can almost reach out and touch that last rock we went past. But the track bed behind that has already dropped from sight. Water! Water! We're at the top. We've done it. And to think that rock is hiding 9/10 of the whole incline. You've all been waiting to find out how trains managed to work their way up that near vertical wall of torture there. Well, here's your answer. This interesting piece of stonework straight in front of me once housed a 15-foot wooden wheel. Operated only by a brakeman and not a horse as you might have expected. It used gravity to hoist trains up and down the incline. A fully laden wagon or train or engine going down would provide enough force to lift the other one coming up again. Pretty much operating like a seaside funicular railway would have done back in the day. And most of those are even steeper than that thing. The rest of the structure was a full timber housing that covered the whole wheel. You can still see the holes here, which were the fittings for the timber parts. This is one view you would have not had back in the day, unless you wanted to negotiate with a 15-foot wooden wheel. Let's just get one last good look at her before we have to get going again. And at which stage, the video also has to switch modes. Saying that, we are still on a track bed for a little while yet. One of several by the looks of it. Shortly in front of us now is our other feature location. This immense wall of rock you can see stretching behind me is Bolehill Millstone Quarry. And the track bed we've just walked along connected it with the Incline. This industry actually originates from the 13th century, making large circular grinding wheels from millstone grit mined in this area. We'll be meeting a few of those shortly, but for now I think we ought to go and look at the more dramatic part of this landscape. A few little bits of stonework from the day as we make our way over. Anyone thirsty? The quarry, as recognised, was built between 1901 and 1902. Derwent Valley Water Board bought out the land to produce millstone grit to build Derwent and Howden dams in nearby Ladybower. The 52-acre site, sold to them by Hathersage-based owner Mr. Shuttleworth, had a bed of stone set at a surface depth of 65 feet. It also had over 2.5 million tonnes of stone to pick at. Not that I fancied going in there to try and get it. 439 people occupy the site behind me now, working cranes, trains, and that big wheel at the top of the incline. The quarry closed in 1910 after only 8 years in function, despite having produced 1.25 million tonnes of stone in its time. Makes you wonder what they did with everything that was left. Anyway, speaking of leftovers, we've got something else to go and look at around the corner here. I think it's time we went and met the Stones, don't you? Well, just along here, and there's plenty of rock, okay? But I'm not sure any of these are rolling anymore. Nope, thought not. Millstones, these circular grinding wheels next to me here, were integral to industry between the medieval era and the 18th century. They were utilised most focally for grinding corn and flour and the sharing of tools such as knives. Sadly, by the turn of the 1800s, this sort of business has set into decline due to growing competition from countries in Europe, and this was the result. Countless rows of these curious-looking stones now litter this little corner below Surprise View in the Peak District after the industry practically collapsed overnight. I've never heard the exact count, but they're said to be close to 300. Then they could always be lying here. Anyway, I'm glad you've enjoyed watching, but I'm afraid I've no time for milling about here all day. I've got Christmas shopping to do as well. Nothing like a bit of chocolate you want to end the night. Anyway, thanks for enjoying everything I've inflicted on you this year. Have a great Christmas. I'll see you in 2024. And remember, don't be Scroogers. Hit that subscribe button. Night.